This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with a Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Work management platforms. Ugh, endless onboarding, IT bottlenecks, admin requests. But what if things were different?
We found love in an open space.
Monday.com is different. No lengthy onboarding. Beautiful reports in minutes. Custom workflows you can build on your own. Easy to use prompt-free AI. Turns out you can love a work management platform. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
You guys went through a really public divorce.
It's funny, we talk about this all the time. Like, you go through hard stuff, and it was 4.5 years. I was genuinely in a place of, with all the stuff I've dealt with, like, I can deal with this. It was a quick moving thing. It went from like, hey, we should get a divorce, to all of a sudden it was like, hey, it's my twin flame and this is my son. And I manifested him.
And it was everywhere.
I remember when the pictures came out of her in his car at Peddler's Fork. When those hit, it was like, bam, it was massive.
Oldish. The art of knowing more and caring less. With your host, Randy Spelling, Brian Austin Green, and Sharna Burgess.
Moving on to the next piece of you, let's talk about you in love and relationships. We all grow so much throughout them. And you touched on it a little bit, but to start us off in this area, we often mirror the things that we grow up with, the love that we grow up with. We've talked about belief systems that you built with your brother. What are some things that you've had to overcome? How did that show up in your relationships with people? Have you noticed them be the downfall of relationships?
Relationships have been interesting for me. Like, I recognize the pattern of when I moved out, wanting to get as far away from my mom and that whole thing as possible. So wanting to...
Traits of your mom, not your mom physically, but
right,
people like your mom.
Right, yeah. Exactly. So if I'm looking for a woman I want the complete opposite of that. I want, because that, I just want the experience of that. But it took me, I had some major missteps because of that. I mean, the relationship that I had with Vanessa was very toxic in that way. Like, it wasn't a loving, caring relationship. My mom was like almost to the point of smothering. Like, she just loved me so much. You see her with the kids now. Mm-hmm. Like, she is to a fault sometimes, just everything was about me. And then with Vanessa, it was not that at all. But it was masked in, this is a relationship where that absolutely exists. So you start thinking like, oh, it's just kind of a new version. Like, oh, she loves me, but this is her way of loving me. It's different. And you start feeling like, oh, okay, it's all right. Like, oh yeah, no, she's trying to help me and fix me and get me through things. And then after 2 years or so, you're kind of looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, who am I at this point? There's not one piece of me that's left. My relationship with everyone around me has changed. So that relationship ended up not working out. Then Megan was she was a breath of fresh air coming out of what felt like Vietnam to me.
Can I say something though before moving on to Megan? Because I think there's something really interesting in this. That was a harder relationship for you, but you got Cassius.
It's true.
And sometimes like we all talk about soulmates, and you know, it's so interesting. Like we romanticize and glorify soulmates and how that looks, and like this twin flame aspect, and it's so beautiful. And but also just in the agreements that we have with people and things that happen in the way that life goes. Like you got your first son.
Yeah.
I mean, what would you say changed you the most from having Cassius?
It was by far the first time in my life where I just stepped outside of myself a little bit, and my insecurities and my things didn't carry the same weight that they did before, because he was just my world. I wanted him with me every second of every day. Like we had our routines, we had our things, much like you see now with Zane. We'd get up in the morning, we would go to a place and have like a bagel and cream and sit together. And it was like we just had, and I absolutely loved being a parent. And I think that was the first time in my life where I really felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, you know, all this other stuff is cool. Like parenting, I love this. I'm really good at this. Naturally, I'm good at this. I didn't ever have that feeling of like, oh my God, what am I going to do? Like, you know, how do you change a diaper? Like I didn't ever. Like my instincts kicked right in right away. And I was like, cool, I got this. My kids have changed my outlook on everything. Just the way that I view things. It's a different, I always tell people when you have a kid, it's like it opens up some part that you didn't even know existed. So if you never knew it existed, you don't know until you have a kid that it's there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're holding your child and you're like, oh my God, this is a feeling I've never felt before in my life. So then, yeah, he is such a blessing. He's such a good human being. I'm so lucky with him. So yeah, amazing thing that came out of that.
He's an amazing kid.
Yeah, he's amazing.
So you're out of this relationship with Vanessa.
Yeah.
And you said that it felt like Megan was like a breath of fresh air.
For sure.
What was it that you were looking for in that relationship?
I wasn't looking. I was really like, because I had just gotten out of the relationship with Vanessa, I was like, I'm good on relationships for a little while. Like I'm fine.
And you had Cash, who was at that point how old?
He was 2.
2.
1.5, 2. I mean, he was young. So I kind of jumped back into work and finding myself again. And I ended up doing a show in New York. Kelly Ripa had a show called Hope and Faith, and Megan was on that. And I met her there.
Well, talk about that, because there's the conversation. I don't think media necessarily covered it, but certainly when we started dating, I'd have people bring up this like, she was so young, he groomed her, he's a this, that, and whatever.
Yeah,
but the story that I've understand that even Megan has said is that she courted you, and for quite a long time, to convince you that she was mature enough for you to date her.
She did. So she was, when I met her, she was not even 18 yet. So it was just like, this isn't even a conversation to have. Like, thank you.
Thank you.
But no thanks. And yeah, she was really, really persistent. She had turned 18. She decided they had finished doing Hope and Faith. So she moved back to Los Angeles, and she will not take no for an answer. Like it's who she is. It's who she still is. Like she's a Taurus. So like when she gets her mind on something, that's what's going to happen. And there's no stopping her at all. And yeah, she just was, I remember at one point just sitting there going, okay, well, I'm like, this isn't going to go away. Like, I'm not, this is meant to happen for some reason. And then I remember at one point she really got to a place where she was like, I think she had it seemed like she had given up. Now looking back on it, I think it was part of the tactic because she's so incredibly smart. But she got to a place where she was like, okay, well, I'm just going to move on then. And I'm going to start dating other people. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Right. So that was when I was like, oh no, okay, let's just kind of see what this is. And we got along great. It was really, again, it was a breath of fresh air for me. Like I had gone through the relationship that I had. Cash was young. Megan came in. She was great with Cash. He loved her. She was great with me just because she was fun. She was really kind of carefree. She wasn't concerned with image or how she was perceived. And it was a big lesson for me because coming off of the show, I was the exact opposite. And she used to always give me a hard time. I had no ability to remove myself from it and see anything outside of my own world. So Megan was great that way because she forced me to have fun. She forced me to laugh again and enjoy life. And I hadn't done it for a while. She wanted to get married early. And she was very kind of yeah, we do it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. And then we get a divorce. And I was like, no, that doesn't, that's not to me, because my parents are still married.
Yeah.
In my mind, you get married once.
Right.
And that's the one for you. And then you live that out. So we dated for 5 years. And then, we ended up with 3 kids.
3 beautiful kids.
Beautiful kids.
Yes.
Meant to
Megan,
be here kids.
Amazing,
Meant to be on this earth.
amazing kids. But Megan became more responsible. Views changed. Conflicts obviously arise out of that because
when you say though, to go back to just explain that a little more though, because when you say she became more responsible, it's not that she
Right, that's
was
not a bad
that's
thing.
not a
No.
bad thing.
It's not a bad. I'm saying it's a natural thing.
Want her to be more responsible. It's a natural thing. So what was it that grew you guys apart then?
It was, I think, things got too responsible for her too young. When we were first together, I already had Cash. So she became very responsible for his well-being and was involved in all of the legal stuff that was going on with Vanessa and I. And
It's a lot to handle.
it's a
such
lot
young age.
at a young age. We did amazing things. We did a 2-week trip to Japan one time because Cash was so into Asian culture. So we went out there and we had a guide with us the whole time that walked us through every place we went, everything we saw, what everything was. So it was amazing. But she was it was so much responsibility. I think she kind of just got to a point in her life where she was like, I missed out on being a kid, being an irresponsible kid. I jumped in at, just over 18 years old with a guy that had a 2-year-old. It was like family right away. It was you have to kind of settle it down and do it. So it was just, I think it became overwhelming for her. But then I think when she realized that, she wanted out quickly, which is then what made it hard for me. I understood it, but it doesn't make it any less hard. I understood when she came to me and she was like, I just feel like I've missed out on, I was like, I get it. I understand. It feels like like shit.
Right.
Of
Yeah.
course it does.
Of course.
Especially when your belief is that you get married one time and you guys tried to make it work for a very long time.
We had the first time she wanted a divorce, we had 2 kids.
Yeah.
At that point, I was sick.
Yes. Yeah, you were sick. with
She
ulcerative colitis.
went to New York to do the sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I couldn't even go with her because I couldn't walk. Like, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
I had to stay home, and I was doing physical therapy and speech therapy and all sorts of stuff. So the first time she wanted a divorce was when she came back from that, and I didn't even have the physical ability to like argue with her on it and fight for the relationship. Like, I was so
did you just say okay and then it changed, or?
I was like, okay, but it killed me. Like, it was out of nowhere. It was the most vulnerable thing I had ever experienced in my life at that time. And then I think there was somebody she had met on set then that kind of sparked her interest. And then I think that once she was back in LA, that kind of just quickly sort of fizzled out. And we ended up just staying together, and she ended up getting pregnant again. Journey was born. And then we were just kind of back in the wheel of like, okay, what? And it seemed like we were in a good place of like, oh, we've been through a lot together. So like, oh, we can do this. Like, there's no mountain that's too high to climb. Like, we've got this, this is all figured out. And then when she came to me again, wanting a divorce, I was like devastated.
And was that the final time?
Yeah. I was devastated because I honestly felt at that point like we got this. Like, we would be doing interviews and on red carpets, and like, she really truthfully came from a place of saying like, I believe that we're soulmates, and she genuinely meant it. And we'd already been through almost 15 years of a relationship together. So I believed it, and I think she believed it at the time also. Like, I don't believe she was just saying things to appease me at that point. It had been too long, I think.
It brings up something interesting. I mean, look, you guys went through a really public divorce, and that is divorce is hard on anyone.
Super public, especially because it was during COVID.
During COVID, and you had to deal with it being up for public consumption, and she's moved on quickly, intensely, and very publicly with Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah.
And she's now in the media, only having not just said, there was time between, I don't want to make any assumption it overlaps, but saying that he is now her twin flame.
Mm-hmm.
How do you process that? How do you go through that process of what you had believed and what you're now grieving? You're also co-parenting. You're trying to not let it bleed out onto your kids. And you're going through complete heartbreak, watching who was the love of your life move on and claim that this new person is their ultimate soulmate. What is that like to hear?
It's funny. We talk about this all the time. Like, you go through hard stuff, and when you're in it, you think like, what's the silver lining of this? Like, what good is this going to serve? What purpose is this going to serve? Because of the health stuff I had gone through, and it was 4.5 years. At the point when she approached me, and then the Machine Gun Kelly stuff and everything was happening, I was genuinely in a place of, with all the stuff I've dealt with, like, I can deal with this. Like, this is not going to kill me. The other thing could have killed me. This is not. I'll be okay. It sucks, and it's really hard. And I had absolute moments of jealousy and all the normal things you go through. And like you said, it was a quick moving thing. It went from like, like, hey, we should get a divorce, to all of a sudden it was like, hey, it's my twin flame and things, and this is my soul, and I manifested him from the. It was
and it was
everywhere.
It was everywhere. You couldn't
Again,
escape it, and then people are finding you with a camera in your face, asking you how you feel about it.
Dear old work platform, it's not you, it's us. Actually, it is you. Endless onboarding? Constant IT bottlenecks? We've had enough. We need a platform that just gets us. And to be honest, we've met someone new. They're called Monday.com, and it was love at first onboarding. Their beautiful dashboards, their customizable workflows got us floating on a digital cloud 9. So no hard feelings, but we're moving on. Monday.com, the first work platform you'll love to use.
Ladies, you'll end up shopping for your guy's deodorant, right? So try Degree's Original Cool Rush. You see, last year, Degree changed the formula, and men were mad. One guy even started a petition. So Degree admitted they messed up and brought the Original Cool Rush scent back. It's clean, crisp, and actually smells like someone you want to cuddle. And it's in Walmart, Target, and other stores now for under $4. So toss one in your cart and find out why it's the best-selling men's antiperspirant for the last decade. Degree Cool Rush is back, and it smells like victory.
And you couldn't escape it, and it was for public consumption. Everyone couldn't get enough of it.
It couldn't have been worse timing with COVID too. Everybody stuck in their house, publications just praying for something that they can put on their front page to get clicks.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it was like 15-year relationship, like, massive marriage, like, here you go, press. And I remember when the pictures came out of her in his car at Peddler's Fork, of all places. And like, I remember when those hit, it was like, bam, it was massive. All of a sudden, like, all the publications were calling Melissa, my publicist, and going, what does Brian have a comment on this? And what everyone was like, just the industry was abuzz with whatever was going on and wanting details of it. I was doing a podcast at the time. So I was like, you know what? Instead of talking to these people and getting sort of this abbreviated bullshit version of whatever it is they decide to edit and print, I'm going to go on my podcast and I'm going to talk about it. And it was with Derek. And so I think it was like the morning after those pictures in the car came out, and I did this interview with him, and I talked about it and talked about the fact that we were going to file for divorce and all that. I remember at that point when the pictures came out, Megan saying to me, we're just friends. Like, please, can you on your podcast say that, like, it was a little tailored to better that side because it was such a big deal. And I did. I completely caved to that. Because I loved her. Like, I didn't want to badmouth her, even though it was a shitty situation. I really didn't want to badmouth her, and I wanted the best for her, begrudgingly, obviously. It's like we talked.
It's a
like
tough
it's
situation.
Yeah, like some emotions they're not mutually exclusive. Like you can be happy for a friend that's working and then be incredibly jealous because you wish you had that opportunity.
And then you have the complexity of her being the mother of
your children,
3 kids,
and knowing that everything you put out there lives forever, and so you don't want to badmouth the mother of your kids.
Right.
Speaking of things that go out there that live forever, often when public divorces happen or things with couples happen, media can romanticize the woman, villainize the man. And not to go into details about any of those specifics, but how do you handle being misrepresented in the media? There's a bunch of stuff that was said about you. For example, that you groomed her, or even when we started dating, friends had sent me something like, oh no, it seems like he's a really controlling person. And things that were said about you.
There was something about, Megan feeling caged in the relationship, and it was sort of like you.
But that could be her saying a cage of her own making, but people interpret it as though you caged her. But you never, and something when we first started dating, I was like, why don't you like address this? People are completely wrong about who you are. And you're like, because what's the point? It gives it more ammunition, and I don't want to give it more ammunition and make it live forever. But how do you really handle that? Like internally seeing these things said about you, being misrepresented in the media, especially at the height of the divorce and when everything's going on. Did you ever feel like you just wanted to lash out and scream your truth from the mountaintop?
Were you
For
angry?
Sure. Absolutely. I think it comes from my dad. You know how like my dad is very like he's very good at cutting emotion out of something and just being logical in his choices. I like really logically understood that if I defend myself this one time, it's never going to stop. I'm going to have to defend myself for who knows how long because people are going to believe what they want to believe. So to me, time is the only thing that regulates that. People spend more time seeing me not being that way, and then they start questioning it. And they start going, we've seen him for 5 years. Like we've never once seen him being controlling or hearing any other story from anyone else about. So to me, it's like the long game of it all. I felt the same way with Vanessa with that of like, I'm just going to sit back and shut the fuck up. And people are going to find out what they're going to find out just because I'm not giving them anything else to do. They're just going to have to find it out on their own if they're still interested. And people do. And people have with her, people have with Megan and that whole situation. There was so much stuff that, like you said, the grooming stuff, the controlling stuff, and it seems like that just continually lessens and lessens until I run into people now that are like, yeah, I used to think that, or that seemed to be the case, but they just genuinely don't believe that anymore. And it's not because of anything I said, because it's easy for people to say things to defend themselves. People do it all the time. Oh, I did a press release, or I spoke to this, or I did a tell-all book, or I did a thing.
Right.
It's fucking easy. Those are words, man. Like those are,
You say whatever.
it's actions that truly paint a picture and tell a story. And to me, my actions were, let me just stay the course of being who I am. And I think people will genuinely find out on their own and figure it out. And if they don't, there's nothing I can do about it.
Then they don't. So in hindsight, out of all the relationships that you've been in, and we'll get to the relationship you're in now, what would you have done differently, if anything?
Nothing. I learned
no regrets, nothing. In hindsight, when you look and you say, I would have listened to myself more. I would have gotten out of that earlier, or I would have nothing.
No, because all of it is what put me where I am today. And I'm in an amazing relationship. Sharna's the love of my life. We have an amazing family life, have an amazing baby. My life is like nothing I ever had expected it would turn out to be. I was a shell of who I am now. And I think the only thing that filled that and created that change was what I I genuinely believe what I went through is what created who I am now. We talk about it all the time. I haven't learned anything from my successes. It's all from my failures. My failures are the things that make me go back to the drawing board. And my health and everything is what made me go into therapy and go, okay, I don't want to do these things anymore that I don't like about myself. I didn't make the changes for her necessarily. I genuinely made these changes for me. I knew how I would feel when someone would have a different opinion than me. I knew how I would react. I knew how feeling that I felt fight or flight 95% of the day. Like it's very hard for me to just relax and be. And it was those situations that put me there. It wasn't anything they said. It wasn't being in something where somebody like, you know, in fighting threw a dig at me and I was like, ooh, that's really good. I should look at that, you know.
It was the way that you responded.
It was all for me.
Yeah.
It was like people say about quitting smoking. Like it's not until you want to quit for yourself that you're going to quit. Everybody else around you can be like, that's disgusting. And and you're killing yourself. And you're
Surgeon
like,
General warning.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to keep doing it. So it wasn't until I woke up one morning and I was like, I'm sick of being this person and responding these ways.
Yeah.
I want to learn different tools. And I found a therapist that was just fantastic for me. I think therapy is very individual. You know, I think there can be 10 friends of yours that are like, oh, this therapist is amazing. And you go and it's just not the person for you. You find that person and the little things that they give you, they're all light bulb moments. They all make sense. And this woman, Ella Begelford, she just like heard me and she was honest with me and she would call me out on things and I'd tell her a story and she'd go, okay, I don't want you to say it like that anymore. I want you to try handling it this way instead. Like she was very matter of fact with me and it's what I needed. I needed almost that like male energy of, I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you. I'm not going to like say, oh, poor you, poor thing. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you what I see that you're doing that I wouldn't do. And I'm going to give you some different things to try. And when I tried those things and they worked, it was a game changer for me. It wasn't the failures that I had before in life that made those changes. Those were the things that were the catalyst for me to go in and decide to make changes on my own. But it was these new patterns and new things to try. It's what we say about like meditating or any of it. It's like, it's a choice that we make to do it. It's not, and it's a daily choice. And I know like when I start feeling more sensitive with Sharna or more easily annoyed and with the kids and there are times where I'll say to her like, listen, I got to go see Ella. Like I can tell that I'm not feeling myself. So I just need like a tune up and I need to sit with her and go, hey, this is what's going on. And I need her to hear it. And then I need her to bounce different ideas off of me where I go, ooh, that's a good one. I'll try that. And then sure enough, it's something that kind of resets me and lasts for a while. And then all of a sudden there's some
it lasts
new thing.
until
like,
something else comes up.
Okay,
right?
Time for a tune up again. Like I need a little more.
We all need maintenance.
Yeah.
We all need maintenance.
Yeah.
So enter in Sharna. Sharna enters your life after, you parenting and sort of like setting up this new life where you become very self-sufficient in a way. You were building like chicken coops and different things, all your DIY projects that you still do.
I was really in a place of like, I'm good by myself.
Yeah.
Like I've got this like single parenting thing down, like with the 3 kids at the house, and we built a chicken coop and built the tree house and the stuff. And like, I'm okay. I can do this. I'm not feeling that same need of, I need to be in a relationship, like monogamy. Like I've got to just be, I'm a serial monogamy. Like I've got to find somebody. Right. I didn't feel like I was just on the search all the time. I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah.
That moment when you realize your skincare is actually working. That's Rodan & Fields, the #1 female dermatologist-founded skincare brand in the U.S. Designed by 2 dermatologists who don't just know women's skin, they know how to formulate for it. Rodan & Fields, love what you see. Tap the banner or visit rodanandfields.com/Spotify to get your exclusive welcome offer.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, streaming now only on Netflix.
And we won't speak too much about you meeting and the whole story because we've done
told
it on
that a lot of
season
times.
1. However, to me, it seems like you both manifested each other in your lives at the right time. Like you got yourself to a level of holding a certain frequency. You were at a certain place and you guys entered each other's lives.
We got to a point of being at a certain frequency that was attractive to the other person.
Right, exactly. You both worked on yourselves and were at a place where then
When Sharna and I talked, it was like she spoke the language that I was speaking and vice versa, which is why we talked so well. Because we were completely aligned on the path that we were on. So it was like, oh, we have so much in common. Oh my God, this is such amazing conversation because we can finish each other's sentences, not because we've known each other for so long, but literally we have we're going in the same way. Like, why not get on this boat together and sail? We're both going in the same direction, but we're both in these rowboats, but there's this like nice one with sails right in the middle. Let's just jump on this together and let's go.
What a metaphor. I like this.
I like
Worked out well, right?
So what are you most grateful for about your partner now?
Sharna is full circle for me. Moving out of my house when I was younger, I was in such a place of I want a woman that feels different from my mom, that doesn't love me the same way, that doesn't feel it, and I had all of these walls up and these things. Sharna is, like, if you look on paper what you would assume my type is, Sharna doesn't fit that, which is exactly what I needed. Because my type was broken. My picker was off. I didn't know what I needed because I didn't know who I was.
Your patterns were the picker.
My patterns. The pattern of what I was living in was what was picking what I thought I needed at the time. At the point when I met Sharna, I was enough in my life with my kids. Sharna was a female me. It was the first time I had ever been in a relationship where I was with someone that gave as much as I did and loved as much as I did. I remember when we first started dating, she would do little things like make me a cup of coffee in the morning, and I'd see it and I was like, wait, is that my cup of, did you do the dishes? Because she didn't say anything about it, but I look in the rack and all the dishes are washed and they're all drying. I was like, no, I've done the dishes every single morning my entire life. Like I don't, so to all of a sudden be with someone that is completely selfless, not for the praise of it. She wasn't doing these things for me to go, oh my God, and fucking heap praise on her and pet her and talk about how great she was. She did them because they're in her nature to do. Doing those things are in my nature to do. Like I love getting up in the morning and making coffee for, I genuinely love those things. But I'd never been in a relationship with someone that gave as much as I did. Sharna's just completely opened my eyes to what love is in a relationship. Like I knew love and friendship with people. I have friends, like really close friends that I love, that I know would do anything for me and I'd do anything for them. But I hadn't had that completely in a relationship until her.
So would you say Sharna helped you expand your definition of love?
She, like having kids, she showed me a definition of love that I never knew existed. Like it's not until you get it that you realize like, oh my God, this is what it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to feel. You don't know. I had nothing to gauge it on. I had no A and B. I didn't have two posters to go, this is the healthy one, this is the unhealthy one, I'm going to choose this. I didn't know. I had only had this one. I'd had variations of this one, but it was still this one. So all of a sudden when she came along, it was like, oh my God, now I know what was lacking before and what made those relationships so much harder. It's not that we don't bicker. It's not that we don't like fight about things sometimes. It's how we do it.
It's the how.
It's the how.
Yeah, which is huge.
We're never venomous to each other. We never say things that where the other person is like, I can forgive you, but I can never forget that, because that's a big one. And I've been through that before. Being with someone and hearing things where it's like that to this day, those things stick in my head. Like I can remember exactly the way you were standing when you said them. I can remember what you were wearing when you said that. Like those things hurt so deep. And we don't have that. We'll argue about stuff, something like if we're tired, well, there are all sorts of things that kind of come into play on those, depending on the day, depending on just kind of what's been going on before. If any of the kids have been in a weird, if you're tired, if I didn't have a cup of coffee, like there are all sorts of dynamics to it. But we have a really good ability of taking a step back if we have to, and then coming back together and talking about it and like really hearing each other, really listening to each other. We've learned some really good tools in communication from Ella. She was fantastic that way. She really helped us with the tool of when you're having a conversation with people, parroting back what it is you heard just to make sure that the other person feels like you heard everything that they said. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it, or it's not about that. It's about like, I completely heard you. I completely understood. Is this what you were trying to say? Is this how you were feeling? So we're really good at doing that with each other and getting to the root of the things that are going on. And 99% of the time, the root has nothing to do with what we were arguing with.
I'm pulling out the three questions. I do want to say though, I'll wait. What's one thing that you used to care deeply about and are now grateful that you no longer do?
I used to care about validation. I used to care about other people acknowledging what I was doing, because then I would feel good about it. Whereas now, if I feel good about it, that's enough. Like if other people enjoy it, that's great. It's like, oh, you really like that. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I didn't do it for that. I did it to be able to see it and look in the mirror and go, okay, job well done. Like next thing.
Yeah.
It's a big one for me.
What's a messy human moment that taught you the most?
It's funny being on the other side of these questions,
Right?
Because they're
They're
heavy.
hard.
Like if you let something
questions.
float up to the surface, anything that comes into your consciousness, what is something that was really messy at the time?
I think the relationship with Tiffany,
Okay.
Yeah.
because that was me at like my messiest, like really like just not me at all. Like I'm not a jealous person and things like by nature. I was an absolute emotional, jealous wreck during that. But now I'm able to look at that and go, okay, that is not.
It's so interesting to hear you say jealous
I-
because you don't have a jealous bone in your body
I don't.
at all.
Maybe he got it all out in that relationship.
100%. Yeah. Or it taught him the most, you know?
Yeah,
But
I mean, I definitely had moments in my marriage in that if there was
granted,
jealousy
that was
there,
valid.
it would have come up, and it did. Like it was, I still had a very good outlook on all of it. Like looking back on it, I applaud myself. Like I pat myself on the back because there was a lot of things that I just kind of went with and was like, okay,
This is
it's a
happening.
new challenge. This is a new thing. Like we'll get through this.
And the last one.
What is one thing that you would tell your younger self now that you know more and you care less?
Oh my God. Care less. Like stop.
Just care less.
Yeah. Stop thinking everything is about you. Understand that there is a whole world happening. So as insecure as I felt going into the coffee, that to me is like a microcosm of it. I used to be concerned with how I was perceived by the guy behind the counter at the coffee shop. If I would get out of my own head, I'd realize, God, he has just as much stuff going on in his life. Who knows what he's thinking when I walk up to the kid? Who knows what that's triggering? His last concern is what's happening with me. Like I need to stop doing that. I need to stop thinking everything is about me and realize it's a massive world.
Do you know, if I may,
Yeah.
just in listening to you in this conversation, that it wasn't you, grown up, you standing at Coffee Bean ordering a coffee. It was little Brian in the school halls that gets jabs made at him for doing the commercials that he did, that then just kept his head down, ready to dodge any sort of comment that came his way because you were judged.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't grown up you that's saying that knows he's got more going on. It was the little inner child you that I do think comes up here and there. For me too. And I've done inner child work.
For all of us.
For all of us.
Yes.
But I have to say, I know you've got something you want to say. And I know you. And we've talked about stuff. We've talked for years. We talk beautifully and openly and vulnerably. But it was really beautiful watching you open up today and share things. And I got emotional in some parts and I get emotional now saying it. Because there's so much to you that people don't know, and it's not all for public consumption. But I love that people get to see the man that is the love of my life, that is so complex and deep and has the most beautiful heart, and that has been through some shit and out the other side, but will never make anyone else feel bad about what you've been through. And you're an incredible father, and you're an amazing partner, and I love you deeply, baby.
I have to follow that.
Yeah. Right. So what do you have to say, Randy?
Okay. I just have a wish for you, really. And my wish for you, it was beautiful to sit here and interview. I know that these questions are not easy. And my wish for you is that you carry little Brian with you. And I think that you have more and more and more. And that you parent him the way that you parent, the way that you give to other people, the way that you've given to me as a big brother figure, the way that I see you give to your kids, the way that I see you give to Sharna, the way that I see you give to anyone that you meet, that you give him the same love and attention, because even if he gets rejected, it won't matter because you give so much. And I know that he will never feel rejected when you are with him. And you continue to do what lights you up. So you're such a passionate person.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you
really do.
for being on Oldish.
Thanks for being on Oldish, babe.
I'll see you guys soon.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us at Oldish. Please follow, subscribe. It means more to us than you know. And of course, if you want to see this, if you're listening, you can check us out on YouTube. Like and subscribe there as well. Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
I just wanted to take a moment to let you know that you don't have to navigate life alone. If there's something hard that you're dealing with or you're just ready for a change, then reach out to me at randyspelling.com, or you could DM me on Instagram, also at randyspelling. And if I can help you, I will. If there's a resource that I can share with you, I will also do that as well.